right, guys. We are open now for about an hour. I am looking to capture longs here soon. I just need to see how we react to our candle here. Um, we've obviously made quite a move yesterday, and our overnight session kind of replicated the same. But I am looking for longs still, and I am going to replicate what I've been doing, which is kind of keeping to the discipline of trading with 3 micros at a time. And but yeah, we'll see. I'm not just gonna blindly just take an entry. I will need to see what we do here as we test our Globex and our overnight. So yeah, we'll see. If we can close this candle above this prior bar here, I will attempt to take longs. This is high risk, not the cleanest entry if I do take it. Um, but I'm willing to risk it. So we shall see. So far, no signs of why an entry would make sense. So come on. Again, not the most ideal entry, but we are still holding this Globex area. If we close above that bar, I will take a stab at this. I'm gonna wait for the 5 minute close actually. So one more minute left. So this 2 minute candle won't be enough for me. I need to see how we close for the 5 minute. If we could close as a 5 minute spinning top doji for our reversal in this area with the 2 minute bar that overtakes the prior bar there, then I am interested. Let's see. Patience is important. I know like this is where like I don't live trade too much outside of the fact that it's not convenient for me to live trade because most of the times it can't be at my desk. Um, I think it can be very boring, to be honest. Like I'm not an entertainer when it comes to trading. Very stoic, very focused just on the charts. And I've got nothing really going on around me when I do this because I do need to be in my most calmest state when I take my trades. I want to make sure that it's not emotionally driven by external environments, right? Which I talk a lot about with students and all that. So, come on, we got 10 seconds left at the close of this candle. Usually I'll do about 30-point stop loss for my entries for the New York session. Ooh, not the most ideal 5 minute close, so I am gonna hold and wait. Not rushing this. I know the challenging thing here too, as like I said, we'll highlight is that if you're a trader and you feel like you've got to leave right, to work in like 25 minutes, I think sometimes just being able to reflect and think about that is a factor in trading in itself because like you don't want to make those impulse decisions based on the fact that like, oh, you know what, I got to go to work, so I got to get a trade in because I'm itching to get to click this buy button. I don't think that's super healthy either. So just my 2 cents on the topic. Sometimes it's okay to just walk away and say, okay, no trades for today, right? If you don't have enough time. Let's see, are we reclaiming this? I'll take a stab at that. So as usual, a 30-point stop loss. So where would that be? 25, 4. So was it 24? 24, 5. 24, 5 would be right there. That's 24, 5. I'm sorry, I'm just a little slow this morning, seriously. All right, so I'm in. So we're going to take a look at the first trim. Again, I'm doing all these trimming stuff just for systematic purposes and for no other reason other than that. So 23,984 would be the first 1R trim. So we will do that. Next one will be 23. Oh no, it wouldn't be 23 anymore. 24. Oh, oh, 4. Be the next one. Right? Am I tripping? Oh wow, that makes no sense at all. Oh no, it does. It does. It does. Sorry. Computer was just glitching here. So I'm going to put the entry in here on the Discord. MNQ entry 23954.50. Stop loss 23924.50. Let's see. Now you just honestly let it play out. And so I've talked about one of my other updates that I've provided because this is now day 3 of trading this account. I made the comment that it's important that as you build the reps in and you get the confidence to take these kinds of trades, um, you can just hold, right? And you wouldn't trim at all. Either you close out your positions at 1R or 2R or 3R, depending how far you're willing to go. But if you're just still learning to trade, conservatively, whatever that may be, a 2R trade is more than content. And sometimes you might not risk as much as me, right? So you might just say, hey, you know what, Alan, I don't want to risk 30 points. I want to risk 15 points. That's totally fine, right? Technically, if you only risk 15 points, my target right here at the 984 area, that is already considered technically 2R for you. So you just close that out and call it a day, right? You risked 15, you made 30. Congratulations, right? Or if you don't want to shoot all the way up here, but maybe you want to shoot for 50 points, right? Or like 45 points. Well, that's 3R for you. And if you shoot for 45 points, it would be somewhere in this area, which would be a fairly, healthy risk trade because at the very least, you protect yourself from potentially getting rejected off of this area, which is clearly a big area for rejection or resistance, I should say, or rejection. So for me to even trim here instead is considered very high risk, right? Like again, just from a candle perspective, right? Probably it would be safer for me if I would just keep my trim under the psychological 24,000 spot. But anyways, I'm willing to take the risk. I'm just being as binary as possible, being as systematic as possible, and not, letting things kind of affect it otherwise. But yeah, normally, I think that there are those kind of factors to take into account. So when we set our targets, we also don't want to be a prick for a tick, and we don't want to have arbitrary numbers to dictate our trade setups, right? The other thing also as well is that like, when we talk about this entry, where this entry comes aggressive for us is that like I'm really just taking it off of a candle at an area. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's a reason, but it's not enough of a reason in theory to really be taking a trade setup. There's so many other things that I would generally look for where, desirable chart patterns, what kind of volume are we seeing as well? Like those little nuances, right? And if you're an indicator trader, you might want to wait to see if we can get a curl on the 9 EMA with a EMA cross or what have you. So there's a lot of other things. So far right now, our 5-minute candle just closed now. So our pa prior 5-minute bar was a spinning doji, but it wasn't the ideal one. It was a fairly bearish one. Now we've got a bullish one kind of put in here. That's a little nice to see. I think that what would be good to see as well is that for this next 5-minute candle to break above the high and close above as well, because then that would give us a nice 15-minute failure to go lower on the candle as well. And potentially, depending on how that gets formed, that might also give us a potential higher low on the 2-minute time frame. So we'll see how we're doing here. I do have my FF indicator up here as well, and it's just something that's kind of as a point of reference. So I'll just kind of give you guys a glimpse of what that looks like, the FF indicator. But technically speaking, this would be considered a fairly preliminary entry if you were using the FF indicator. Like you have no reason to enter longs right now, actually. So this is where it's kind of like I don't base a trade solely on just like an indicator or I should say multiple indicators for that matter. I generally like to run it in conjunction. Like indicators for me are may not be the decision maker, but it absolutely acts as confluence and it provides the additional conviction for the entries. Also, I'd like to say that I find that indicators are good just sometimes to give you the reassurance to hold if you are having you know risk and issues with like holding for a longer period of time. It acts as a nice like extra conviction for that. So I'm gonna go grab a glass of water. I'm gonna let this kind of trade play out for now. I'll be right back. Got the alert that the trade did not work out, and that is okay. So at this point in time, we have a choice, right? We either hold back and say, you know what, no more trades for the day, um, or we take a look for our second one at best, because we obviously don't want to overtrade. So usually I limit myself to two trades per day. We'll see what it does here. This is interesting, right? Like just to be able to see what the candles are doing here. Just because again, like you notice how we kind of just held above the line that I drew here, but again, it's very arbitrary. We're just looking to see what price does over different sessions. So we'll see. But for now, honestly, I'm content with just keeping it as is. So like consider this as out of 3 days, maybe it's two losses already, right? Oh, sorry, not two losses, one loss already, right? Um, really was hoping that this trade was going to work out based on what we've got. But you know what? We were also getting fairly aggressive to take a long after some of the selling that we've taken place so far. But I don't think longs are out of the equation for the day. I just think that that maybe just wasn't the best entry, right? So all is good. All is good. But I'll leave it at that. If I do end up taking another trade, I'll try to get on camera again and take that trade and get that taken care of. But otherwise, I will post my next update during the next trade for day 4. Thanks, guys.